Dividend investors, welcome back to ONEONECOCO. Today we are going to be making another entry into our investment journal. It's been a while since we have spoken last. Today we are going to be looking at Q2 Dividend Basket Update 2023, and this is our third episode. So as usual, our disclaimer. This journal represents my personal financial journey and views and should not be taken as financial advice or recommendation. I am not a financial advisor. I am not qualified to give financial advice, so before you invest, please consult a financial advisor. So, since the last time we spoke, I've made a number of changes to the portfolio. Some are very obvious, some of which we are going to discuss. So the last time we spoke, I had two portfolios. I had what I called my swing trade portfolio, and I had my core dividend portfolio. Now what I've done is that I've combined both portfolios into just one, because what we're concentrating on is just our dividends, and for sure we've made some changes so we can also get some growth in that portfolio, and so we want to make it more of a dividend growth portfolio instead of a swing trade and dividend portfolio, and we will discuss why we've made these changes further down in the presentation. But for now, I'd like for us to look at some of the changes we have made. So I've added Burrito Investment Limited to the portfolio. I think that Burrito has some promise, for sure. Some people like to call it the dark horse. I don't know if it is that dark anymore, but I'm sure that many persons can actually see why we would want to have a company like Burrito added to our portfolio. We still have Carreras. Carreras is a foundation stock in my portfolio. This is a stock that I've been holding for a number of years. When I just started investing, I did not have Carreras, because of what it represents, what it sells. A disclaimer for sure, I'm not a smoker. I've never smoked anything at all, but Carreras is one company that you can count on for regular dividends, and that is one of the reasons why we've made an investment into this company. For those persons who choose to be smokers, they can go on do what they want to do, but for us over here, we won't be smoking, not now or in the near future. But I do think that an investment in a company like Carreras is a good investment, and that is what we're trying to make over here, investments. We have also added, well, I've not added, but Dollar Financial Services was a part of my swing trade portfolio, and I've just brought it over into this main portfolio. All the companies from the swing trade portfolio I've brought over, including Elite Diagnostic. It is not a very big position that I'm holding in Elite. It's just a small position, and so it won't affect the portfolio much, so we've just brought it over. But we have added Grace Kennedy Company Limited, and for me, I do think that any portfolio that you're having, especially a dividend growth portfolio that you're having, I think that Grace Kennedy is worth being in that portfolio. And there are some other reasons why I've added Grace to my portfolio, which I may not discuss right now, but maybe we will do some discussions later into the portfolio. later into the presentation, but for now we've just added Grace, and I think that it's a very good addition. We also have Jamaica Stock Exchange, which I'm not, well, I had it in my swing trade portfolio. It's not a very big position, and so I've just brought it over into this portfolio, and we will hold it there for now until we have found it not to be, but I wouldn't say wanted, but until we have found it to be a company that we do not want to hold any longer. Let's just say that for now. Then we will certainly make some changes, but for now I will just keep holding the companies that I've had in both portfolios into this one. I also have medical disposables and supplies, and medical disposables and supplies is a company that I've had for a while, and I have, I would say, a fair position in this company. Actually, I've been up quite an amount, but I've lost some of the gains that I've made, and so for now we'll just keep holding it, and we won't make any proclamations or anything like that, but for sure when we rebalance our portfolio, we will see what we will keep and what we will sell. I have Mailpack in this portfolio. I wouldn't say a substantial position, but I have a fair position, or maybe more than a fair position, maybe a good position in Mailpack. That maybe I'll just keep it like that for a while. For sure Mailpack is down, and I would have loved to average down some more on Mailpack, but I've been averaging down on Mailpack. I don't know, well, the market overall is down, and so when you have a number of positions, then you have to choose which positions you want to average down on, and then the ones that you have good gains on, you may want to think of, well, of selling some of those, or a percentage of the position held and reinvesting it into something else. For sure, some persons will want to do some rebalancing of their portfolio, but for now I'll just keep my portfolio as is, because I don't want to be just rebalancing my portfolio just on time. Some persons may want to rebalance their portfolio every quarter, some will want to do it every 6 months, some will want to rebalance every year, but I don't want to rebalance my portfolio just on time. I want to rebalance my portfolio when something significant has happened, or I want to make a significant change in the portfolio. And so if I am down on certain positions, I'm not just going to sell those positions because I'm down on those positions, because this is a dividend portfolio, and so for now we will want to keep most of those positions. I've kept Cygnus investment. I've been holding a position in this stock for a while now, and we do get dividends. So we don't pay tax on the dividends that we get from Cygnus, and so that in itself is significant because the tax is 15%, and if you think that you have a stock that is paying you 7%, and you have Cygnus that is paying you 6%, and the one that is paying you 7%, you are actually paying 15% taxes, you may be getting less dividend on that, well, from that investment than you are getting from Cygnus, simply because I am getting the full 100% of dividend paid out for Cygnus. So I do think that it is a reasonable position for me to still hold. I have Trans Jamaica in my portfolio for sure. The last time we spoke I had Trans Jamaica. I have added to that position for sure. Maybe not a lot, or no, maybe I did make the changes before the last entry that I've made, but we can look back and see if we have made those changes after or before. I still have PBS preference shares. I still hold the same position. I've not gotten a chance to add to it, and plus it's been sold now. Well, the last time I checked I saw that it was been sold for 30% more than what we would have purchased it for at IPO. Well, today I'm making this video on the 24th of July 2023. I think for today PBS the price was like at about $12, like at about 24 or 28% up from IPO price. For sure, I wouldn't want to be adding to this position at this price, but PBS for me is one of my best dividend pairs, and I would like to keep it that way. I think that is a very good addition to the portfolio for sure. So let's talk. The last time we made an entry, we did make mention that there is an inverse correlation between high dividend stocks and growth. So if you have only high dividend stocks in your portfolio, you will find that you will get little or no growth in that portfolio, but the dividends will be the best that you can get. But then you have to weigh the pros and cons to see whether it pays enough just to get dividends, or do you want some growth in that portfolio also? Because we want to look at the overall return on the portfolio, not just the amount of dividends that we get from the portfolio. And so that is why we've made some changes. I think that it is strategic, the changes that I have made and will continue to make, that I want to add some growth stocks to the portfolio and see where that goes. So some of the changes that I've made is that I've combined my dividend and swing trade portfolios. I no longer have separate portfolios. All the stocks that I have held are now considered to be in this one dividend portfolio, because we're dividend investors. And well, not just because we are dividend investors, but we want to hold companies that will give us the best dividends and also some growth over time. And so that is why we have made some changes to the portfolio. Some persons will want to stick by the thing that they say on day one, and they will never make a change because that is what we have said on day one. But for sure, as you learn and as you grow, you should be able to make decisions, pertinent decisions that will be in your best interest. And I think that the decisions that I've made already and the ones that I'll make going forward should be in my best interest, and not just because I said, okay, I'm a dividend investor and that is where the buck stops. We're dividend investors for sure, because all the stocks that we have in our portfolio should be paying some amount of dividends. There's I don't know if I will buy a stock that doesn't pay a dividend. Maybe I'll buy an IPO that has not paid dividends yet, but for sure it should have the potential to pay some dividends, because I would like to be paid to hold the stock over a number of years. You know, I consider the dividends to be payment to hold the stock, and we would like to buy into companies that will also grow over time. We do not want to be buying into companies that are stagnant, companies that never increase in their profitability. And so we have made changes, and we will continue to make changes to reflect the same. So we've added some dividend growth stocks to the portfolio. One such I consider to be a dividend growth stock is Grace Kennedy, and we can have a discussion about Grace Kennedy further into the presentation, or maybe when we're looking at a different quarter, for sure. But I do think that, well, at this price, maybe Grace is paying 2.5%, which is not a large dividend. But at the same time, I do expect to get some growth from Grace over time for a number of obvious reasons, for persons who have been looking at the market, persons who have been following the stories and so on. You will see why I may have added Grace. Maybe you don't agree and it would not be in your dividend portfolio, but that's okay too. We can have a discussion about that. I've also added Burrito, and let us just go back a bit to Grace, because Grace, I've decided to add or to use all my dividends to buy into Grace for this year, or maybe the year to come, or just until Grace has gotten to a price where I think that it is out of my range. But for now, I do think that Grace is within my buying range, and I will continue to use all my dividends to buy. And I also think that this is one of the advantages of, well, I like to have a drip system for sure. I would like to have a dividend reinvestment system where you can just sign up for the company, and then your broker will just purchase more of that stock with the dividends that you have gotten. I would like to see something like that, but for now, it doesn't work like that in Jamaica. And so I have been collecting my dividends in a particular account, and then I've been using that money. Well, I've been sending that money back to the broker, and I've been using that money to purchase more stocks. And so I am saying that that is one of the advantages of not having a drip system, where you can direct your dividends to exactly where you want it to be, right? And for Grace, that's what I will do. I will use all my dividends to buy into Grace until conditions are not right to buy into Grace. You know, you understand what some of those conditions may be. I've also decided to buy into Burrito, as I said before. I've held stocks of Burrito before, and I've sold those stocks. I've sold at a profit for sure. But I do think that it is a good time to buy into Burrito, and I will consider Burrito to be a dividend growth stock. Let us see what dividends we have got. We will get from Burrito this year. But I also think that it has great potential, and as I said before, if you've been following the news, you can also identify some of the reasons why I would want to consider Burrito to be a dividend growth stock, and why I would want to add it to my portfolio. So for Burrito, I will add some new capital, like whatever extra money I can find. I'll just use that to add to Burrito. I've been adding to Burrito. I think I've made 2 purchases so far, and well, this $50,000 is not a lot, but it's a start. Maybe it will grow faster than Grace simply because I'm just waiting on dividends for Grace, but I should be able to get some dividends from some of the companies to buy more shares of Grace, because we're waiting on a number of companies to pay. So for sure I can increase my position in Grace, and also with extra cash I can also increase my position in Burrito. I've not sold any stocks this quarter. Maybe there are stocks that we should sell, but we don't want to sell at a loss, and so we'll just keep some of those positions for now. We'll just keep some of those positions until we decide to rebalance and get rid of some and maybe add some more into it. I've added some new capital into Mailpack, just to create an even number maybe. I think that Mailpack is a fairly good dividend stock. For sure we would have probably liked to average down some more on Mailpack, but how much can you average down? I've been averaging down and it keeps going down, so you gotta come to a point where you make a decision that this is enough for this company. Let's move on to another company, and so maybe that's what we have done for now. But you may never know, in the future we may add some more to Mailpack, but for now we have other companies that we want to concentrate on. Okay, so today I just want to drop a little gem into the middle of this journal entry. We want to talk about the rule of 72, because we want dividend investors to understand how they can actually make money from dividend investing. And it is always good to have price appreciation, but the market is volatile, and so for those persons who may not want to take as much risk as others, like myself, maybe we probably want to just take a position in a company and hold it for a while. And so we just want to look at the time that we would need in order to increase our investment. And so today I just want to look at the rule of 72. And the rule of 72 is a simple mathematical tool used to determine how long it will take to double your investment. So let us say, so it is simple. Time equals to 72 divided by the rate or the yield of that particular investment. So for example, if you invested in Carreras with a yield of 10%, then the time it will take to double that investment would be 7.2 years, because it is 72 divided by 10%, a 10% yield. But in the last video, or in the last presentation and the last entry I made, someone did point out to me that, remember that there's 15% tax, right? So we also want to take that into consideration, because we do not want to mislead, because, well, remember, this is not investment advice. We're just talking about what we have here, and we're just making an entry into our investment journey. But looking at the rule of 72, you would see where it would only take 7.2 years to double your investment in Carreras if we didn't have to pay this 15% tax. But since we have to pay 15% tax, it would be 72 divided by 8.5, since we have taken off this 1.5% from the 10% that it would pay. So if we take away that 10%, it would be 72 divided by 8.5% yield, which would give us 8.4 years. So it would take us 8.4 years to double our investment in Carreras if you buy it at a price where the yield is 10%. And you can use this simple equation to determine how long it would take to double any investment, as long as you have the yield. So even if the yield is 2%, you can use the same tool to determine how long. Well, it would take you a very long time if the yield is 2%, and for sure you wouldn't just want to buy a stock with a yield of 2%. That is not a growth stock that you think that you're going to get some price appreciation from. But this is just a simple tool that we can use to, just try to gauge how long it would take for our investment to double. So let us say that you have $1 million. You invest it in Carreras and you reinvest all the dividends from Carreras back into Carreras. It would take you 8.4 years for you now to have double that amount of money, which would be $2 million. So if you are close to retirement and you're saying that, okay, I have 10 years or 5 years or whatever time you have to retire, then you can calculate the exact number of years that it will take you to double your money if you just use the dividend reinvestment program or policy. You will need to do it physically yourself in Jamaica, because they do not have that service there. But it's not a bad tool, and you can use the rule of 72 to determine how long it will take for you to double almost an investment. All right, so that's a good tool to have. I just felt that it would be good to just put that in the middle of the presentation there. It's good to use. I think it's quite useful. Alright, so we have the value of the different positions that I hold currently. Trans Jamaica, the dollar value just a little over $1 million. Cygnus, dollar value is 17%, it's just a little under $1 million. MP Cell, Clean Caribbean Energy, it's 8%, it's just a little under $500,000, and for Carreras, it's just a little over $1 million, well, 1.1 million to be exact. And I have not been reinvesting into Carreras. I've had this position for a while. In fact, I've sold maybe 1/3 of my position in Carreras, and I've bought into something else. I don't know if that's the right decision I've made then, but time will tell. Okay, and for dollar financial, I have a sizable position there. I do have 15% of my portfolio, is 800 and something thousand that I hold in there. Not surprising, I did make a reasonable size investment into dollar. Well, the price been going down. Maybe it is fitting to have dollar in the color red, because dollar is in the red. But that's okay. We are holding for long term, and what I've noticed though is good, because I've noticed that, well, for the first quarter, they paid, I think, 0.02, so 2 cents they paid per share for the dividend at that time. And for this quarter, I noticed that they're paying 0.025, so there is an increase or dividend growth. Is it a good dividend growth stock though? Only time will tell. But for sure, I would love to average down $1, but you have seen where I've mentioned that I have taken well, I'm in the process of taking a position, a reasonable position I want to take into Grace Kennedy, and I also want to take a position into Barita. So I'll just hold these for now. I also have medical disposable and supplies is 7% of my portfolio. 3% there is Jamaica Stock Exchange. Yeah. Milpac is not bad, it's 7%. And that's a sizable position, I think. Maybe, well, I think it's a reasonable position to hold. Maybe some of the others are too large, and maybe some of the smaller ones I want to grow those. So the dynamics of this chart will change over time for sure. I also have Elite, which is not a huge percentage of my portfolio. It's 2%. Barita and Grace, those are my smallest positions yet, but these are the ones that I will concentrate on growing for the next 18 months or so. So in growing these two positions, it should even out the pie a little more. This is pretty uneven now, but these positions for sure I'll hold, but then in growing these two positions here, I think that it will even this pie out, which I think is needed. A good position into the stocks for now, I think, is good. So this is my pie. This is a value of the positions that I'm holding. So I hope that we can make some changes, positive changes, not necessarily selling, but for sure at some point we may want to rebalance, not just on time, but significant changes. If I get some price appreciation on one stock, maybe I'll sell some of that and buy into another one. That's the kind of rebalancing I want to make, and not just rebalancing because it's a time to rebalance it. I'm still holding this position. This is the only US dollar position I have. PBS 9.25. I still hold 100% of my US dollar holding is PBS 9.25. I have other positions in US dollars, but I've just calculated them as Jamaican dollar. I think I have a position, a US dollar in Trans Jamaica and also Cygnus, but not really considering those now because I do get the dividends in Jamaican dollars. I'm sure of that. So I've taken an excerpt from my Excel sheet, and this is what it shows. This is how I've chosen to outline my income portfolio, recordings of my income portfolio. First up we have Barita, and I haven't gotten dividends yet because I've just taken a position in this company. To date, as I have showed before, I've only invested $50,855.24. To date, this is just additional capital that I've added from my personal funds. This doesn't include any dividends that I've received, and this is a total investment in Barita for sure. As I said before, I would like to have a sizable investment in Barita by the end of next year, maybe, as long as it keeps within that buying range of mine. I won't say exactly what my buying range is now, but for sure when if the price of the company goes out of my buying range, then I would just stop buying, cease buying at that time, because to me then it wouldn't make a lot of sense to keep buying. I still have Carreras, and I've gotten 2 quarters from Carreras. So in quarter 1 I've gotten 28,000, in quarter 2 I've gotten 26,000. I think that they may have paid 23 cents in the first quarter, and then 21 cents in the second quarter, so that would account for the $2,000 difference there, but that's okay. That's how Carreras usually pay. And my position is about $1 million, a little over $1 million. Dollar Financial, I've gotten I've gotten the first quarter payment, which is about 4,500, and the second quarter, which is this quarter, I have only inserted the amount that I expect to get based on the number of shares that I have and what they're paying per share. This is what I should get. I haven't gotten it yet. It's going to be paid on the 1st of September. That's a while away, you know, so that's almost at the end of, that is way into the third quarter that they're paying this small amount. So I've just put it in here, but for my next entry into the third quarter, then I will account for any amount that I've gotten from as dividends for the second quarter for Dollar Financial Services. So I've not invested that yet because I haven't received it. I just plug it in. There may be a slight change which I'll make at that time, and then I'll just invest it all into Grace Kennedy. I'm sure by the end of my entry for the third quarter, then you would see it reflecting in the dividend reinvested here. Elite, I've only gotten 500. Nothing has changed with Elite. Grace Kennedy, this is the first time I'm purchasing Grace now, so it won't show any dividends received. I'm just building out this position now, which I will do slowly. Hopefully by the end of the year I should be, for the first quarter, remember I used my dividends for the first quarter so I've gotten 54,000 for the first quarter, which I have invested into Trans Jamaica from the first quarter, and that is now, that is my position. I would have loved to have a greater position, but that's what it is. Jamaica Stock Exchange, a small amount. It's not a significant position for sure. Some people may say it's over 100,000, and this is what you get as dividend, but we're just trying to be strategic and we're not trying to waste our money here. We do have some time to do our rebalancing. I don't know when that is going to be yet, but I'm in no hurry. Maybe I have the privilege of being able to wait a bit more than others may be able to. For Mailpack doesn't pay dividend in the first quarter. Like some of these things, I'm just learning about these companies now that I'm actually recording, documenting the dividends that I've received and so on. Because if you just go on the site, it's a lot to go look for. Of course you should know the companies well that you're going to buy into, but I now have 12 companies. I plan to take a position in about 20 companies, and for sure some of those companies will be dividend growth companies, not just dividend companies. So over time we should be able to get some growth from some of these stocks, and for sure we will do some rebalancing and put them in different places and put our earnings into different places and so on, which you will see as we go along. So so no dividends for Millpack for the first quarter, but for the second quarter I have received $9,173. I think it's a good dividend. I'll wait for the third and fourth quarter. I do think that they pay 3 quarters for the year. I hope I'm right. If I'm not, I'll find out as we go by. But I'm certain that we didn't get a payment for the first quarter. So this is not a bad dividend payment. It is actually one of the better dividend payers on the market for sure. After the junior market, maybe the highest dividend payer for the junior market. And I did add some capital to Millpack. I got to a pretty rounded figure, 400,000. Sure, if you know, let's see what happens with Millpack. Prices actually, well, it's not bad because my purchase price is almost today's selling price. Not quite, but I'm not at a great loss with Millpack, and it's a long-term position that I'm holding for them, so I feel comfortable holding Millpack for a while. Medical disposables, unfortunately I didn't sell at the time. I was up substantially on that position. I didn't sell, and now I am not in a positive position, so now I hold it, and I have gotten for the first quarter I've gotten $4,545. I don't know if I'm going to get more dividends for the rest of the year, but it's a sizable position. It's almost 400,000 that I have on that. NP Cell, Clean Caribbean Energy, not so clean. It's not paid me anything yet, and I'm still waiting. 427,000 in that position. Signals has paid in quarter one. I've gotten 15,800. It's not a bad dividend payment after taxes. If I was reinvesting all these dividends into these positions, then it would be growing to a more substantial position, and then it would make a lot of sense. But I'm not adding to Cygnus now, because I don't want to be adding to all these positions all at once. I want to be concentrating my efforts in the stocks that I want to buy now, because as you've seen based on my chart, I do have some larger positions, but I'm not really selling from those positions. I like to add to the smaller positions to sort of balance out the chart for some of my stocks. I'm not adding to some of them for sure. For some of them I for sure would like to sell and buy something else, but for now I'm just going to be holding them because I'm not in a great hurry. For Trans Jamaica, you know, I haven't received anything from Trans Jamaica yet for this year. Well, I did receive some dividends from Trans Jamaica, but not since I've been recording. I've been documenting what I've gotten, and that was not a lot because I did not hold a substantial position. This wasn't what I held at that time. I've added substantially to Trans Jamaica since then, not just this 54,000. If you remember from the first entry I did, I saved all, I did put all my dividends into Dermont trading, and I think I accumulated a little over $250,000 from dividends that year, and I did sell Dermont trading, and then I put the money into Trans Jamaica, and I've added these dividends for this year, first quarter for this year, to Trans Jamaica also, which brings me to this. For sure, I would have loved to hold a position of about $2 million in Trans Jamaica, but when it went over the price that I wanted to buy, because then if you buy too expensive, the dividend is not going to make sense. Well, it's not for the long term, and if you have such a large position, well, if I had taken a larger position, for sure I could have sold some of my shares and reinvested it into something else. Well, if we could read and read the sun and know exactly what the price is going to be tomorrow, then we could have certainly taken some positions. But because we do not have that capacity, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It just happens. We want to create a more balanced portfolio, because if Trans Jamaica went down to less than $1, then we would not be so happy for sure. It is always going to be like, if I had known that Trans Jamaica would have gained so much traction, then I would have bought more. I would have sold some of my other positions and I bought into Trans Jamaica, because for sure you would have regained any loss that you take from selling some of those losers, for sure. But we don't know, and so that is why we want to create a balanced portfolio. So for the first quarter, I did come up with about $54,700 from just my Jamaican dollar shares. And if I should convert my $231 from the first quarter, then it would have been a more substantial position. I think a little over, well, maybe 88,000 or something like that it would have come to. I just do a conversion of $150 to $1. For this quarter, I've received in Jamaican dollars, well, not received dollar financial yet, but will. It will be 41,381.58 cents. And if I add my PBS shares, then it will come to about $70-something thousand. But I have not converted my US dollar shares, but I'm just saying that if I should convert it, so it is going to be well it is less for the second quarter. It's less, and I don't think that it's a big deal. It's just when the companies pay. Some companies pay in the first quarter, some companies pay in the second quarter. For Cygnus, which is a significant part of my dividend, it doesn't pay every quarter. It pays 2 quarters. I think it pays the first and the third quarter. So I wouldn't have gotten Cygnus for this quarter and some of the other smaller positions that I've received from in the first quarter. But I did receive from Mailpack in the second quarter, which I haven't received in the first quarter. So, like, it doesn't hold true well, it doesn't make sense to compare from quarter to quarter. It's better if we compare from year to year, because at the end of the year we will see exactly how much we have gotten from dividends from this year 2023, and then next year 2024 we will make a comparison, which would give us a better indication as to how our dividends is growing. Okay, so we haven't gotten anything for the third quarter yet, and we're just waiting for that, and for the fourth quarter we'll also show. For total dividends to date we have received $96,000 in dividends, Jamaican dollar dividends, And if we were to add this $745 from our US dollar position, then it would be quite substantial. So maybe I should just add that now. If I say 745 times, let's just use 150 as a conversion, it will bring us to about $111,000 thereabout. And then if I add this 96,000 to it, 96,000 to it, then to date we would have accumulated some 207,000 from dividends already, and this is just the end of the second quarter. So by the fourth quarter, I'm hoping that we are close to that 400,000 mark, and we will reinvest all of that. Well, not all of it. We will reinvest all of the Jamaican dollar dividends into Grace Kennedy. I have not reinvested my US dollar dividends as yet because it is a little more difficult to do, and so as soon as I get a chance to, I will try to buy some more PBS shares if I can get it for well, I do not want to buy it for more than 80% value of what I've paid for the IPO, because if so, then dividends is going to be pretty small. It's better if I put it in something else, but for now I am hoping that I can buy some more PBS shares. I've added some capital too. As I said before, I've added 50,855.24 cents to Mailpack, and I have added to Burrito, and I've added 56,256 to Mailpack. I'm done adding to Mailpack, and I've reinvested 35,000 into GK. I've also reinvested 54,000 into Cygnus, and so my total reinvestment amount is 90,000. My total capital that I've added from my own purse is 107,000. All of that will give you total invested amount, and you can see it's a pretty substantial amount over there. So this 10,000 US dollars I've invested in PBS 9.25. It still remains until I add some more from my dividends, then it will be reflected here. Okay, so this is the amount that I've received from the different companies. I don't have one-on-one in here. I was thinking of adding one-on-one, that's why it's there, but no, I won't. So Carreras for the first quarter, 28,000. For the second quarter, 26,000. Cygnus for the first quarter, 15,000. Not gotten anything for the second quarter. You will see what I've gotten in the third quarter. Trans Jamaica 0, but at the end of the year we will get the full amount, and for sure we are definitely eagerly awaiting to see what we will get for that. I hope it's an improvement over what we've got the last time though. MP Cell, this company restructured, and so we hope that they will start paying a dividend sooner than later for sure, because if not, then we're in trouble. For Dollar Financial, I've not added for the second quarter yet because I've not received it, but for sure you will see it reflecting in the third quarter, where we will add the amount received from Dollar. For GK, haven't received anything yet because we're just building out that position. For Burrito the same, haven't received anything yet, we're just building out that position. For Milite, it's the same. We've only gotten one small $527. That's the same. And from PBS, it's not showing as much as I would have liked, unless I'm going to convert it to Jamaican dollars so it shows, but it would be all the way up here because it is my best position to date. So, but this is in US dollars, and I've gotten two such amounts. It's just distorted. I should fix that. Medical disposables, 4,500 still remains. Mail pack, I don't think that we had this the last time because we didn't get anything from mail pack, but now we have 9,173 for mail pack and one-on-one. I was thinking of taking a position in one-on-one, but I don't know. Is it a dividend growth company? I'm not sure, because one of the things that I also look at is from the prospectus, the amount that they want to pay out from profits for dividends, and I think for one-on-one is like maybe 25% or so. Don't quote me on that because I would need to go back and look. And so when they're paying out that small amount, and for sure the dividend is going to be small, and if it's not growing quickly, then I really do not think it's a good position to hold. Well, I'm not saying don't go out and buy one-on-one, because I do think it's a good company, but I think that for the educational tech companies, they need to well, it's a new industry, so we've got to wait to see what they have to offer. But for sure, I do think that there are potential with these companies, and I do like one-on-one. The CEO, I think he's a fairly intelligent guy, and he knows what he wants. He's not on social media every day saying it, preaching it, but I think that he knows what he wants, and it could be a position that we will hold in the future, but for now, let's just leave one-on-one alone. And I have opted for Burrito instead, so maybe in the next quarter in the next journal entry, we will remove one-on-one, or we may add it. Who to tell? We may add it, or we may not. Let's see. Okay, so I did make this slide in the first journal, just the increase of the dividends per quarter, but I do not think that this is a good way to represent the dividends received, because then we do not receive from all the companies for all the quarters, and so it would kind of distort the graph a bit. So for quarter one, we see that we've received $88,000, including when I converted the US dollar dividends that I've received and added to the Jamaican dollar dividends. It would come out to about $88,000, 707.97 cents. And for this quarter, we would have received, including, I think this would include our dollar dividends, which we have not quite received yet, but for sure we will see it reflecting in the next journal entry. We would have received some $76,000, which would be 14% less than the first quarter. But as we explained before, this is because not all the companies would pay in all the quarters, and so that wouldn't represent how we would have liked for it to represent. So maybe okay, so we're not gonna spend any time on this slide, maybe not today. So I think that this chart will better represent our dividend increases, because at least at the end of the year I can show you how much I've received, and at the end of next year I can show you how much I've received. Then we can look at the percentage increase from year to year, because for sure I would have received all my dividends for 2023, and then I can receive all my dividends for 2024, then we can see the difference between what we have received year over year. And whatever dividend growth is included here would be a combination of dividend reinvested, new monies, and any increase in dividend by the companies that we have invested in. Alright, dividend investors, thanks for spending time with me, and my third journal entry is complete. Remember, this is ONEONECOCO and ONEONECOCO full basket. Remember, keep investing and keep invested so that we can build that basket one cocoa at a time or $1 at a time. Because remember, time is one of the most important factors when you think of investing. Time will give you a whole lot more returns than any other factor on the market. So keep invested, investors, and thanks for spending time with me.